Hey guys, it's Mike again from T-Mart Decorated Apparel, and today we're going to go ahead and do that follow-up video that we promised you, focusing on heat presses. So for today we're going to go over three types of heat presses, or three levels I should say. So these two actually have no name or brand. These are kind of nameless wonders that were found on Amazon a long time ago. So these two presses do not have links, but we will find the best reviewed heat press that we can find, and we'll go ahead and link that in the description below. So I want to just go over a few quick things. So I know in our last video you saw that small swing away press that we had we use for like travel and things like that. So it's really light, but the heating element swings out of the way. Good for smaller designs, not so great for the larger designs. So I want to go over three things that you're going to want to focus on when you're choosing your heat press starting off. So one, you're going to want to focus on the heating element. This is basically what adheres the heat to your design, that allows the heat transfer vinyl to adhere, the plastisol transfer, whatever it is that you may be doing, actually adhere to the fabric that you're pressing on. So does it heat, and does it heat evenly? Number two, does it apply even pressure? So one thing I want you guys to notice is this little guide rod right here. And there's one on all of the heat presses that you'll notice today. And basically that's just there to ensure that there's even pressure over the platen. So we'll go ahead and press this down. And now the back end of this heat press has the same amount of pressure as the middle and as the front part. So what you'll notice sometimes with heat transfer vinyl especially is that when it releases, maybe the bottom didn't catch. Maybe the bottom still wants to peel up or something like that. And that can be caused by one, uneven pressure, or two, uneven heating. So you want to go ahead and check that. Does it heat evenly? Does it apply even pressure? And two, can you adjust the time and temperature? So this is going to be pretty standard on every heat press that you're going to find online. There's going to be a gauge for your temperature and a gauge for your time, and you should be able to change those easily with your buttons. Time here, go up for as long as you may need to. So this is going to be a given on most heat presses that you find on the market. However, you do want to make sure that you don't end up with a press that does not. So look at the pictures, look at the description, read the reviews, and make sure you have some sort of digital readout, not an analog or anything like that. So those are those kind of three things you're really going to want to focus on. Now, I want to say when we start off, this is maybe about $150 press, would you say? Mm-hmm. So pretty bare bones. It is a manual, which means you close the press, it applies the pressure, and then the countdown begins. So the countdown starts automatically, and when it's over, you hear the beep. Then you have to go ahead and release that pressure on your own. So this is going to stay down. It's going to beep forever. I don't believe it will ever stop beeping. But basically, you're going to have this hot iron pressed to your garment, t-shirt, whatever it is that you may be pressing. And it's up to you to come back over and pull it up. So obviously, that's a little bit cheaper, so you save some money there. But you have to be glued to this press. You can't walk off and go do something else, because you'll eventually burn something. So you want to make sure, that's something that you should consider, I should say. So not necessarily a deal breaker or anything like that, especially if this is going to be something that you're starting off with, but just something to consider. So for example, like Renee doesn't really like this press that much, because if you have really hard pressure applied here, so you're doing something that needs to be heavy pressure, it's going to take a lot to open this up. And over time, what you'll see is you start hitting your wrists, and it just kind of hurts. It's just not a great experience. So something to consider there. Also, something to consider is your heat gun. So basically, when you pick up a heat press, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Go ahead and get your heat gun at the exact same time. Get you a heat gun. Get you some sort of a cover sheet, whether it's craft paper, something like that, and a see-through ruler. These things are going to help immensely when you're starting to work. And it's not necessarily something you want to have to go out and get after the fact. You know, we tried to press plenty of shirts before we got the heat gun, and we didn't know what was going on. We were getting uneven heating, or we had some plastisol transfers that didn't pull properly. You know, the image would be halfway on the shirt and halfway on the page. And most times the culprit is uneven heating. So get yourself a heat gun that you can come here and make sure that you're registering proper heating. One thing you'll find with most heat presses, not just any budget heat press, but even the higher end heat presses do have a problem with even heating. And that's because they have heat coils. Most of them have single bars that go directly in the middle, or a spiraling bar that will go directly in the middle of the heat press, leaving the edges of the heat press way off. So right now our dial is reading at 245 degrees, but the edges of this heat press is reading 125. The middle is about spot on. It's only about 2 or 3 degrees off directly in the middle. And then off to the sides, this part even overheats. So this is around 260 right now. So it's really important, especially if you're doing a really wide graphic that's going to take up the majority of your heat press, that you get a press that has good even heating and good even pressure. So you got to turn that off. Next we have our intermediate model. So this one steps up a little bit from the manual press. And one big thing that you'll notice right off the bat is that this drawer slides. So instead of having to be hunched over under the heating element the entire time, you can stand up, relax your back, and you can actually pull this platen out towards you. So this gives you, one, light, so you can see when you're putting your design on. You don't want a lot of shadows and things like that kind of throwing you off your measurements. So you can stand up, you can pull it out, and then you move your hands and face away from the heating element. So it runs a bit cooler on this one, and then once you got it on, simply slide back into place, and then you can pull your heat press down. So the second thing that's good about this press, why it's in the intermediate level, is that it's an automatic open. So as opposed to this one where you have to stand by and pull it up yourself, once this one counts down, it opens up immediately. So you can be doing something else, you can be weeding another project, and you'll know that after the 12 or 15 seconds that this is done, the heating element is away from your garment or anything else that can burn, and you're good to go. So this one steps up a little bit more. Once you get into your automatic opens, you can be prepared to spend a little bit more money than you would with your manual press, but again, it's worth it. Kind of things to consider as you're moving up the ranks with your apparel business. I'm going to go ahead and have Renee talk to you about our last and final press.
All right, guys, good to be with you again. So what I'm going to talk to you about is our third press. This is a Stahls Press, Stahls Hydronics 16 by 20 auto clamp press. So once again, as Michael mentioned, this press will open automatically when the time counts down, which is helpful because you know you won't have to stand here and babysit the heat press. The other thing that's really, really helpful about this machine is it has interchangeable lower platens. So there's a lever here on the side where you can pull it out and take this platen off. And here we have another platen. This is a 6 by 10 platen, and then we can put this on the machine. So what's really, really helpful for this is if you have something smaller, say a left chest design, and you don't want to get press marks on the whole garment, you can put this platen on and just press the area that you want to press. This is also helpful for infant garments or maybe the pocket of a tote bag that you're trying to press, and you can just slide that on here easily. There's other platens that come with this as well, but these are the two that we have here today. So once again, you're able to adjust your pressure on the top. This heat press actually has a numerical pressure readout, which is also super, super helpful. because you're not doing it by just how it feels. You can look on the screen and see how much pressure you have on your garment. So those are some of the heat presses for you to consider when you're just starting out. You may want something that's a little less expensive. The Stahls, this heat press is probably like a couple of $1,000. So you may not have the funds to start out with this, or maybe you do. But just some things to consider, whether you want the clamshell or the swing away, and the size of your platen. So I hope you guys found this to be informative, and we will talk to you soon. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. Bye.